Hi, viewers and listeners. Today's today's an out of turn episode of Dynamic CIO Talk Show. We usually invite very established, accomplished, acclaimed, fairly old technology and business leaders for this show. However, today's show is going to be exceptional and an outlier in many ways. I have a very young, school going, but very sharp and smart student with me, whose name is Ishaan Singh. He's all of 16 years of age and is very passionate to make a meaningful contribution to the society with his passion for computer sciences and technology. He says, and his own words, I quote, that I consider myself to be a problem solver and a social entrepreneur. Ishaan has co-founded an organization known as Alumni Somnia. We will talk about what's that. It's a very loaded word, which is a student-led non-profit that provides funding and guidance for students, startups, and student-led ventures. He likes to build applications. He likes to build websites and run interesting physics simulations in his spare time. He has got a GitHub account where I could spot some 7 repositories. He blogs regularly on Medium. I mean, 16 years is too young an age to do all of these things. Right now, he is pursuing an IB diploma program from Aditya Birla World Academy in Mumbai. But as his favorite pastime, he has developed a free privacy-preserving mental health chatbot called Inaya Connect that acts as the first point of contact for individuals suffering from mental illness. Welcome, Ishaan. I don't know where to start, but heck, let me still begin by saying that if I got you on this show out of turn, it was due to my curiosity to know what are you aiming at, what do you want to do in life, and how equipped you find yourself to do so much at this young age.
Hi, happy to be here. Thank you so much for that great introduction. Um, I'd like to start off by saying I had tracked the Dynamic CIO show for a while, but didn't ever expect to be on it. So, I mean, it's truly a privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. You are welcome. And tell us about Inaya Connect. Tell us about the word Inaya, where it came from, and tell us about a lot about it, and how this idea came to your mind.
Sure. So, Inaya in its essence in Persian means empathy and care. So, I was a student who lived in Dubai for 13 years. And so I was surrounded by Arabic and Persian as two of like the primary languages that was spoken. And the word sort of resonated with me when I was building the chatbot. I was trying to think of words that people could relate to, and empathy and care are the initial foundations of mental health. And I knew that in the back of my mind, Inaya was always the name I wanted to use for the chatbot. So the chatbot is a free, privacy-preserving mental health chatbot that acts as the first point of contact for mental illness. It's built to serve low income and underrepresented communities. And it started off as just a chatbot that would be developed for students. It started off as a chatbot that would be developed for students, but is now building into something much greater, with a self-help chatbot being currently developed and the corporate and senior citizen chatbot currently available. I initially developed the chatbot primarily for COVID reasons. I realized that in around about April 2020, when COVID was starting to get on everybody's radar around the world, that mental health would be a big issue when people were cooped up in their own homes. My friends have dealt with their own mental health issues in the past, and a big sticking point for them when they were dealing with these issues was the stigma surrounding mental health. So in many countries all around the world, speaking about mental illnesses is almost seen as taboo, or is not considered as a good option for your career or as a student. And I didn't believe that to be the case. But understanding that plight, I knew that it have to be privacy preserving, but more importantly, anonymous. So when I was developing the chatbot, I made sure that the chatbot does not track any personally identifiable information.
Okay.
It doesn't track name, age, email address, location, IP. For the simple fact that most people will be comfortable speaking, knowing that it can't possibly come back to them. And when someone's truly comfortable speaking what they're going through, you're going to get the best possible results. Now, the chatbot does not try to replace therapy or psychiatry. I still don't believe AI is at the current juncture to do that. But what it does do is find the right person to connect you to. So a lot of people, at least from the people that I've spoken to when I was developing the chatbot, they had a big problem finding who to contact. And you'd go through this rut of finding depression specialists or anxiety specialists who wouldn't cater or fix your specific need. What the chatbot does is alleviates this problem for you. So the chatbot asks a series of questions and then connects you to the most appropriate end user or end point of contact, which would then allow them a more seamless mental health recovery journey.
Fantastic. I mean, it is a combination of a lot of things, if I may say so, because, first thing first is your imagination, your ability to comprehend a problem that is actually looming large in the society, your ability to find out, cases where which may have prompted you to work on this type of an application. I mean, hats off to you, because
Thank you.
I saw a lot of young school going volunteers working to provide food, to help downtrodden with some shelter, with clothes, with monetary help. But I mean, this is something which is very encouraging and a very, very heartwarming thing. So congratulations to you
Thank you.
for this kind of an approach. So chatbots are dime a dozen, and they're, you open any site today and possibility is that you will be greeted by a chatbot. However, you go two steps further and the chatbot starts asking you for your email ID, for your telephone number, so that somebody can contact you. Now, I want to understand from you, and I understand that, there are times when you require technology to mature. It takes time to mature. It takes time to progress to a maturity. So what's the technology that you have used to make this chatbot very pervasive, very, very conversational, and how does it engage with the human beings?
So I'm going to answer this in two steps. I'm going to answer the chatbot at its current stage and the chatbot in its current development stage, which is far more exciting.
Sure,
So in the
sure.
current stage, the first point in developing the chatbot was finding the technology needed. So the technology I used, which I felt most comfortable using, was Google Dialogflow. I felt it was the most robust. The fulfillments that it allowed were far more advanced than what other chatbot services offered. And I knew I worked with it the best. Now, I knew that the questions that had to be asked to the users would have to be specially crafted, and it couldn't just be any ordinary question. So I worked with psychologists and specialists, and my mother, who's actually a PG diploma in counseling psychology, to carefully construct the questions that would be asked. On top of this, then I developed a scoring algorithm. So when the chatbot is run, you'll get three options on what to click, and the user can also enter their own input. The three options have assigned weights, and the own input then uses NLP and sentiment analysis to run a sentiment on the text that's been given to understand the severity of the issue. A score is computed, and then there's essentially ranges to who they would be referred to, and they'd be referred to that individual based on the score range. Now that's the existence of the current chatbot. The future chatbot is where you really see the power of AI taken to another level. So the future chatbot intends to be a self-help chatbot. In its very essence, it's supposed to be generalized and large scale, catering to a large demographic of people, but could also handle multiple circumstances. So the new chatbot being developed has been tested with 9 million inputs, 36 emotions, and 360 circumstances. So it's taken the initial technology that I developed just over a year ago now, and fully expanded on it to cater to a very large demographic, but also maintain the fact that AI is not at the state to provide diagnosis, and I don't intend to provide diagnosis. I want to connect the individual to the right person and give them self-help advice that's been approved by psychologists and professionals from around the world. That is going to be using a recursive neural network, and use AES 256 encryption and TLS encryption and a little bit of differential privacy as well, to make sure that anonymity and privacy, the privacy preserving nature of the chatbot is preserved.
Fantastic. I mean, and are you seeking help from a group of people, or are there volunteers helping you in pursuit of this excellence?
So currently, all coding and development of all stages of the chatbot has been done by me. No marketing money really has been put into the chatbot. The 3,000 plus users that have come onto the chatbot have all been either word of mouth or organic growth of the website and SEO. But now I've put together an advisory panel that will be launched when the new chatbot launches as well. We have people from IEEE, digital health experts, and many, many more people who've volunteered to be on the advisory panel, who've been interested in the technology, of course. So they've given their inputs on how I could better the chatbot. I'm connected with psychologists and psychiatrists from India, the UK, the US, who are all vetting the text that has been the text that will be sent to the users. And I'm also growing the number of point of contacts that I have for the chatbot so that they're connected to a wider range of people. So there's more option for who you're connected to from my end so that you're connected to the right person. So that's the stage of the chatbot that I should be able to reach in the near future.
And how much time do you think it will take?
So the chatbot is nearly done in development. 9 million inputs have already been tested. I'm crowdsourcing more inputs now from users. So in my immediate community, so there's an open beta launch going on for some people to test. And then I'll also do a pilot sometime in the mid of August. And then I expect to fully launch the chatbot sometime around mid-September after going through various testings and going through approvals with all levels of the advisory panel. Once they feel completely comfortable in the technology that they are assigning their name to as well, I'd be happy to put the technology out. I just want to make sure that it's perfect before it's sent out.
Great. So you have said that it's been in market for 9 months now and has been developed, tested and introduced into the markets for um, as low as $85, but now has 3,000 plus users in 60 plus countries. How do you map this outreach? How do you monitor? I mean, is monetization a primary objective at this stage, or are you just wanting to give a message that, okay, this is a great chatbot, will come really handy for people who require assistance and intervention in mental health. However, it is not free of cost.
Okay. So it's free for the general public and it's going to remain free for the general public.
Okay.
It initially started as a social tool and I want to continue it being a social tool. I do plan to employ some form of a hybrid revenue model in the not short term, but in a while. Once I reached say 30,000 users. So the revenue model essentially would focus more on the corporate side of things rather than the general public, because I do believe that the need of the hour is a chatbot that addresses the needs of the low income. So the next step for the chatbot is multilingual functionality. So implementing not just the international dialects like German and French, but also local dialects in India, Spain, all other countries. And I believe that's how the chatbot would be able to cater to that wider demographic that I was looking for. It has taken just $85 to develop, but of course, as the chatbot scales, the costs will increase. So to cope with the cost increasing, I'd have to implement some form of revenue model. But in the near future, I do expect the chatbot to remain completely free without any clear revenue model at the point, because I want it to remain a social enterprise for as long as it can.
No, sure. I'm very keen to know, are you widely exposed in the developer, in the community where funding comes from? I mean, the high net worth individuals, angel funders. I mean, aren't they grabbing this idea from you already?
So I have spoken to some VCs and angel investors about it just to see the viability of the product in the market.
Hmm.
Um, but I truly believe that the chatbot has to reach a large enough scale of users before I can like considerably take on someone else's capital to grow it. Of course, I'm still a high school student, so I have my priorities in school, which would obviously take first priority. But I mean, it's really flattering to hear someone say that your company is valued at X dollars, um, especially as a 16-year-old student. Um, I don't believe that the stage of capital is needed right now. I believe the capital expenditure that would be required to run the chatbot could either be financed personally, like bootstrap, or it could be acquired through grants or competition funding or donations or investments. But I do believe that as the chatbot will begin to scale and once it reaches a considerably larger demographic, I would like to register the company as an official startup, maybe in India, and start to take on capital once I'm 18.
So Ishaan, you have already forged some partnerships. If I'm not wrong, I could see a lot of logos on your site. So what are these partnerships for?
So the points of contacts that we've formed are the Vandrewala Foundation and Juno Clinic. They're
Uh-huh.
two mental health providers residing in India. The Vandrewala Foundation has a 24/7 helpline. It's one of the largest in India. And they provide help with depression, suicide, anxiety, and their helpline is widely acclaimed. Juno Clinic is somewhat of a new company, but I believe that they were best equipped for the chatbot because they truly provide low like cost solutions for mental health therapy or psychiatry. So their costs are considerably lower than what I found to be the market average, even in a country where the median income is just above $1,500. And I think that they were the perfect partner for the chatbot because it maintained the status that it was meant to be low cost. It was meant to, the chatbot will be free and the rest of your journey should be low cost because you want to introduce people to the idea of going to get self-help or going to get mental health help. So it can't be the same cost as what you would pay a surgeon or like a GP. It would have to be an introductory price for people to get into it. And I thought Juno Clinic was perfect for it. I'm also partnered with a company called Communicate.io.
Uh-huh.
They're a great company. They actually integrate chatbots and create HTML embeds. Um, I have a great working relationship with them. I speak to the founder quite often. And the company is truly amazing because what they were able to do is take the chatbot that I had developed in Dialogflow and help me build the basic UI around it and integrate it into the website that I had developed. The last partnership, which was actually recently founded, was a partnership with MIT Parcheck Foundation.
Okay.
So they were a spin-off of the MIT Media Lab led by Professor Ramesh Raskar.
Uh-huh.
And he's one of my idols. He's a visionary. And they focus, at least how I got in contact was I had again cold messaged on LinkedIn saying I had developed this chatbot in September, and he had invited me to join Parcheck as a volunteer. Now I'm a co-volunteer leading teams at Parcheck. And I'm happy to work with them on developing a mental health app pan India, and the chatbot will be integrated into that app in the hopefully the near future. And that's how the Parcheck Foundation sort of relationship was formed.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I mean, I cannot stop saying excellent to you. One last question before we let you go. So what future do you see yourself? I mean, you are right now in an Ivy diploma. I'm sure after finishing that, you must be eyeing some Ivy League college. Um, so how do you want to take care of the baby called Inaya that you have created, and where do you want to take it from there?
So, like I had said, I'm going to be 18 in about a year, and I do want to register the like Inaya Connect as an official startup under Startup India. I do want the chatbot to grow, even if I am in the US, the UK, or still in India, wherever I go. I want to keep this as a low cost or free of cost solution for people to go to. And I truly believe that starts with building a team. And that's what I've started doing. So the advisory panel is taking its shape. The tech side is taking its shape. The psychiatry team is being developed and put together. We're connecting with local NGOs in India that help grow the network of the chatbot and then will be integrated with the chatbot, not just for awareness purposes, but they'll also be vetting and reviewing all the responses. They'd be giving me ideas. The tech team, I'm speaking with NLP researchers from the biggest companies in the world to come onto the advisory panel. And then I'm also looking at not just people of my age, because I want to encourage more students to get into technology and AI and STEM, and essentially use their talents for a social product like Inaya. So I'm inviting some of them to join my team, but I'm also looking at college students, professionals who could either open source and volunteer to create an open source platform, or eventually be hired by the company in the long term. And same thing with a development team, a marketing team. And I do intend to run this as a proper company while handling my studies.
That's fantastic. All my and all the best wishes of people who will view this, interview, and I'm truly impressed